Hey BookTube, it's Mickey, and I'm coming here today with a book haul. Excuse me. My library had a book sale this past weekend where you could get as many books as you can fit into a grocery bag for $2. Then they also had a sale going on in their bookstore where you could get 50 cents off of like a total order. So basically all of the books that I'm going to show you right now, I got for $7. So super excited about that. So the first book that I'm going to show you is A Good Man is Hard to Find by Flannery O'Connor. I have been interested in reading Flannery O'Connor for years. I've never read her before. This is a collection of her short stories. I think this is one of her, I think this is considered one of her best collections of short stories. I have read the short story, A Good Man is Hard to Find, and really enjoyed it, but I haven't read the rest, so I'm really excited to get to this. It's actually really rare that I find Flannery O'Connor at the library book sale. I've been looking for her for years, and so I was really excited to see this. And then not only did I get this book, but I also got Wise Blood by Flannery O'Connor. This is her first novel, and it's about basically I think it's a small city that and this very charismatic preacher comes to town and sort of kind of takes over, and that's pretty much all I know about it. But I really want to read Flannery O'Connor. She is a writer that's greatly lauded by a lot of people. She's a favorite of a lot of people I know in real life, so excited to get to this at some point. The next book I got is also a short story collection. It is Drowned by Junot Diaz. I read The Brief and Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde last year. It was one of my favorite books that I read that year, and so I'm just very excited to get a chance to read some more by him. It's a collection of short stories. I've actually heard some not so great things about this, actually. Something about the misogyny and so on and so forth in it, though I'm wondering if maybe it just might be that people don't get it. I don't know. I'm excited to read it, though. The next thing that I got is Winesburg, Ohio by Sherwood Anderson. This is a collection of short stories. It is, in this edition, is both the short stories and criticisms on the short stories. So like the short stories end about here, and then the rest, like this is short stories end about here, and then the rest of this is just criticism on the text. So I'm really interested in that. The criticism includes a bunch of published reviews that came out around the time the book was published, and some criticism, including an article by William Faulkner. This is a collection of short stories set in all of them set in this little town called Winesburg, Ohio. I actually have read at least one or two short stories from here. I just cannot remember them. So I am interested in looking at this again. I remember being struck by them in a way where I knew that I wanted to pick up the rest of the collection, though, so that's why I grabbed this. The next thing I got is The Moons of Jupiter by Alice Munro. This is a collection of 12 stories by her. I don't know where this book falls in her bibliography, like in the timeline of her bibliography, but I have yet to read any full collections by Alice Munro. I've read like a spattering of a couple stories by her. I've yet to read a full collection of her stories. So hopefully I have this, and I have another one whose title I can't remember, and so hopefully I'll get around to reading her sometime soon. The next thing that I got is The River Between, and I'm not even going to butcher this author's name. I'm just going to bring it up to the camera so that you guys can see it. And he's a male author. He is, I got this because it was from the African Writer series. It is about a village in Kenya who Christian missionaries come to their village, and the village is kind of torn between the desires to join the Christian church and the desires to maintain their own traditional religion. And so I was really interested in that. It's very rare at the library book sale that I find books by non-American, non-UK authors. Like, it's very rare. So when I saw this, I jumped on it. So hope it's a good one. I have another, Things Fall Apart by Junot Diaz is also a part of the African Writer series. So who knows, but I'm looking forward to checking this out, and it's a short book, so maybe I'll get to do it during a readathon or something. The next book I got is also by a non-American, non-UK author, and it is No Telephone to Heaven by Michelle Cliff. And I'll read the little blurb on the back because that was part of the reason why I picked this up. It says, extraordinary for the fierceness of its lyricism, No Telephone to Heaven is a novel of Jamaica, of colonialism, race, politics, and myth. The story of Claire Savage, a divided mulatto, and the rites of passage in her quest for spiritual integrity. So that sounded really great. I was also drawn to this book because at the library book sale, the books are kind of laid so that their spines are facing you, and you kind of have to decide if you're going to grab a book based on the spine, and you don't really get a chance to like peruse books because everybody's kind of like it's like a huge crowd of people and everybody's kind of like shuffling and trying to grab books before other people get to them. And so I tend to, when I see the vintage, this is a vintage international, when I see this spine with these block lettering on there, I tend to grab these books automatically because there's something just really attractive to me about this font on the spine, and also because like it just has yet to steer me wrong. So excited to get a chance to read this. This cover is actually pretty wonderful. I don't know if you guys can see the details of like the man and the woman right here. Like, I think I might have to get it closer. I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, the next book that I got is The Between by Flannery, which is a book. Flannery is an author that I've always wanted to read, but I've never gotten a chance to. This is about a kid who, well, this guy named Hilton, his grandmother saved him from drowning as a kid, and he always kind of felt like he, you know, like he got a second chance at life. And then he grows up and he marries this woman who is the first African-American judge in Dade County, and she starts getting these racist letters or calls. I think it's letters. Yeah, racist letters that are very threatening to her, and he starts to think that his time is running out because that and some other secrets from his past are becoming more prevalent. And so ooh, what's this on my face? So yeah, I really want to get to this book. Next book that I got is Troubling Love by Eleanor Ferrante. This is apparently her first novel. I read My Brilliant Friend last year and was really, really impressed by it. It's one of my favorite books from last year, and so I was super excited to get this. It is in like pristine condition. It is in such great condition, and I am just like super excited to have it. So this is Troubling Love by Eleanor Ferrante, Europa editions, because I feel like those are really expensive. So whenever I can find them at the book sale, I like to grab them. I also got this, The Elegance of the Hedgehog by Muriel Barbary. I've heard it recommended by a couple of booktubers. It's also a Europa edition book, also in great condition. I actually already owned a copy of this book, but it was a library copy, like a discarded library copy. Here's this. It has the lamination on it and the library stickers and barcodes. So I decided I wanted a clean version of it. If by some chance you might be interested in having this copy of this book, please let me know. It is in okay condition. There's like this little thing here on the spine, but I heard that the lamination is possible to remove from library books. I just heard it's just like a really tedious process that I'm kind of like not interested in doing. But I don't know, let me know if you might be interested in having a copy of this. I can see if I can find a way to send it to you, if you want this specific copy. The next thing that I got is White Noise by Don DeLillo. I've read Falling Man by Don DeLillo, and I thought it was okay. I've actually read it twice. I liked it better the second time that I read it, but it still like didn't necessarily move me, but it did make me think that DeLillo is an author who I'd like to return to. There were definitely some things that happened in the book that made me think that he might be interesting to me. It just might, like, he as an author might interest me. It's just that specific book didn't work for me. I know that this is one of his really popular works, and so I am looking forward to getting a chance to read it. One of my friends in real life really loves this book. The next book that I got is Elizabeth Costello by J.M. Koontz. Is it Koontz? I have been told so many different ways of how to pronounce this man's name. I should just look it up. That's what I should do. Okay, that's what I'm going to do at the end of this video, is look up how to pronounce Koontz. But I read Diary of a Bad Year by him, and I actually didn't like it that much. It's one of his more recent works. But Camille at What Camille Reads, and Denise at Denise D. Cooper, Books, Arts, and Life, both really like this author. So I want to give him a chance. It says winner of the Nobel Peace Prize in Literature. I don't know if it's this book that was the winner of the Nobel Peace Prize, or if they're just saying that Koontz himself is a winner of the Nobel Peace Prize. I need to look into that a little bit more. But I saw this and I grabbed it, so there's that. Then I got The Sparrow by Mary Doria Russell. I was interested in this because it's a sci-fi classic that is written by a woman, and it has to do with, there's some like religious aspects involved in the book that I really wanted to explore and look at, so I grabbed this book at the library book sale. I also got A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith. This is a classic novel that is a favorite of a lot of people. I actually have no idea what this book is about, but it's a book that appears on a lot of those like required reading lists for people. So I got it. Hopefully I'll get a chance to read it. I got Murder in Three Acts by Agatha Christie. I always get an Agatha Christie novel from the library book sale. It's just kind of a tradition for me. So this is the one that I picked up. It's a Hercule Poirot mystery. Don't know where it falls in the order of the mysteries, but I have never read it before. So there's that. I have A Sport in the Past and A Pastime by James Salter. There is a wonderful woman. I forgot her name. Her name is Terry. She used to have a booktube channel. I think it was called Miss Terry and Books, and she doesn't have a booktube channel anymore, but she's still really active on like Twitter and Instagram, and she was recently tweeting about James Salter and about how much she loved his writing. And so I kind of had that floating in my mind when I was at the library sale. So when I saw this book by James Salter, I decided to grab it. I'm gonna read the blurb on the back for you, because it also is part of the reason why I picked it up. It says, set in provincial France in the 1960s, it is the intensely carnal story, part shocking reality, part feverish dream, of a love affair between a footloose Yale dropout and a young French girl. There are the seen and the unseen, and pages that burn with a rare intensity. So that sounds really interesting. So I'm excited I got that book. I also got The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. Read this before, absolutely loved it. This is like a high school like textbook, basically. It has the text of The Scarlet Letter. It also has a short story by Kate Chopin, some poems by Emily Dickinson, and the short story The Lottery by Shirley Jackson, all in here. So I didn't own a copy of The Scarlet Letter, so now I do. I'm probably going to replace it with a different one at some point, but this was 10 cents, so why not? Then I got For Colored Girls Who Have Considered Suicide When the Rainbow Is Enough by Nashaki Shangi. I have read this poem, this choreo poem play like a gazillion times. I've seen it more times than I can count live, and I have seen the movie adaptation, and I love the story, and I'm so happy to now finally own a physical copy of it. So there is that. I also have this, which is it's called A Good Woman, Poems and a Memoir by Lucille Clifton. She is one of the few poets that I know, because I don't really read poetry that often, so I don't really know that much about poems, but I do know Lucille Clifton, read several of her poems before, and so I'm excited to have a collection of all her poetry, and or at least all of her poetry up until 1980, and her memoir in here. So super happy that I got this book. And then I got The Woman Warrior by Maxine Hong Kingston, which is a memoir about I think she's Chinese American. Yes, she's Chinese American woman. It's considered a essential like feminist text by a lot of people, and I am excited to get a chance to read it at some point. Sorry about the coughing, you guys. I have like this weird tickle thing that like won't go away. So next thing that I got is Tender is the Night by F. Scott Fitzgerald. This is little hardcover version of it. Actually, when I first read The Great Gatsby, it was really funny when I saw this, because when I first read The Great Gatsby, I read this, it printed in the same edition as this. This is by Scribner. The book looked exactly like this, except it was thinner because it was The Great Gatsby, but it had the printing of F. Scott Fitzgerald on here. It was hardcover. I don't know what happened to that copy of The Great Gatsby. I think it was my aunt's. I don't know if she took it. Maybe she took it. It used to be at our house, and now I can't find it, and I had to buy a different copy of it, but it was like kind of like a nice little blast from the past to see this. I haven't read it before, but I'm looking forward to getting to it. And I got this book on a whim. I probably wouldn't have got it if it wasn't at the library book sale. I had, but I said, why not? And it's Ingmar Bergman's film trilogy, Through a Glass Darkly, The Communicants, and The Silence. These are all the film scripts translated into English for these 3 films by Ingmar Bergman. I've seen Through a Glass Darkly and really, really liked it. Ingmar Bergman is one of my best friends, one of his favorite directors, and so I think I'm probably going to give this to him, to be quite honest, if he wants it. I literally picked this up on a whim, but who knows, maybe I'll read the scripts and really, really like them and want to keep them, but we'll see. And then I got Tar Baby by Toni Morrison, which I was so excited. There's a spider. Whoops. Sorry. There's a spider. Oh my gosh. Anyways, I got Tar Baby by Toni Morrison. And the spider definitely probably came from my house. They've been invading my house lately because of the weather, I think. Like, my apartment is I just see spiders all the time. But I was so excited to get this because I've been looking for this for years. And so I'm so happy to have a copy of Tar Baby. Yeah, I mean, it's a dust jacketless hardcover, so it's not the greatest edition, but as long as I have the story, that's all that really matters to me. So, and the last book I got is the infamous A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. It was $1. I couldn't resist it. I mean, I have such doubts about how I'm going to feel about this book, but we will see. So those are all the books that I got in my library book sale. Let me know if you've read any of these books before and what you thought about them. Let me know if there are any books that you would like for me to get to sooner rather than later. And let me know any books that you recently bought. This wasn't the library book sale that happened in the summer, but there was a library book sale that also happened earlier in the winter time, around like March, that I went to but did not film a haul for. If you guys, I got way more books during that book sale too. If you guys are interested in seeing the books that I got during that book sale and would like to see a haul video, let me know down below and I'll think about see if I can make the time to film it. But I have to go now. I'm like running super late, but I'm happy I got a chance to film this video. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.